It finally arrived, and for me, it did not disappoint. Yuki Yoza's one championship debut. I'm former Cage Warriors lightweight champion and 13-3 professional MMA fighter and coach George Hardwick, and today we will be breaking down Yuki Yoza versus Elbrus Romanov. Big up to Jojo Immortals, who uploads these crowdcam videos of one championship. I'll put the link to the original in the description. So Yuki Yoza in the white shorts, kind of cutting him off. And early in the fight, he uses his foot movement to defend a lot of strikes. Little skips back, pressuring in and skipping back. Imagine there's a protractor sticking out the radius of Elbrus Romanov. He just sticks on the end of it and then steps back a lot of the time. Earlier in the fight, when you're fresh and you're not quite sure how powerful they are, you haven't got a feel for the guy, you're often using that. And that's something that Yuki Yoza uses there. The knee feint off the left leg. Knee feint's really good, especially when your left leg is as dynamic and dangerous as Yuki Yoza's. A lot of the other guys aren't using the knee feint as much. Takaru uses it quite well, but Noiri and especially Kaito Ono, who want to get inside and get into the pocket, they don't use it as much. This is what I was expecting Romanov to do, move and throw kicks more to score and then try to spoil in close by grabbing and holding and catching with the knee. But Yuki Yoza happy to throw a high volume of kicks, never allowing the exchange to be 1+1. He was always 1+1 and then the one at the end. There's a Yuki Yoza special you see a lot in this fight, especially because Romanov was trying to use that lean back. He looks up with his eyes, projects his hips upward, but then the kick either digs into the leg or, as it did there, into the body. And we saw Romanov's body getting quite red over the course of the fight. There was a spinning back kick that kind of caught a little bit on the hip, a little bit on the groin, and then calf kick from Yuki Yoza. We saw a lot of calf kicks and the inside calf kick. Not just the calf kick, because that's been popular for a while, but the inside calf kick is gaining in popularity because, it used to be one of these things where I would correct a beginner in the gym for doing it. But we saw Yotan, one of the most technical Muay Thai fighters ever, use it recently against Chyla. There's that ball of the foot kick into the back leg. So hard to brace for that, so hard to expect it. And he did it from a little bit longer range than he does usually, which can get a little bit more whip at the end. Maybe not the same penetration on the kneecap that he might get otherwise. And again, Yuki Yoza, imagine the exchange 1+1+1. Yoza is always the +1 at the end of the exchange. Romanov's using a lot of feints and lateral movement, and that was actually a really nice combination. He uses this left body hook and then smothers Yoza so he can't get the counter and throws the left knee. But Yoza is happy to kick from any range, whereas other people might try and throw their hands back and the hands are a bit smothered by virtue of the range. Yuki Yoza just throws his kick, and a lot of the time, because he's that close, he can get the penetration on that leg, and he's going to sweep him off his feet. Because he's not kicking to the quad a lot of the time, that one was a quad, but a lot of the time he's kicking to the calf or at the knee line, and that's going to take someone off their feet. Even though, sweeps aren't highly scored in kickboxing, it has a psychological effect on your opponent and the judges, even if it's not, a scoring thing compared to a blow. Boom, there's like a left knee feint into a left hand from Yoza, kind of landing the left hand whilst his foot is off the floor, and he's tracking him here. Yoza's bystantiality, ability to kick from both stances, makes him so much more effective at cutting off the cage, cutting off the ring, as I should say here. So much more effective when you can switch stances and throw kicks off of both legs. As well, it makes it hard to predict when the left kick's coming in. There's a classic, just isolate this one, but we see this a lot in the fight. Yoza takes a kick on the arm and then kicks back low. That's something you've got to be aware of. There's a little left kick. It misses, and he still just gets the touch on the end of it. Even if he misses, he's going to fire back. There's something in kickboxing, because there's no real catches or catches and sweeps. You kind of got to take the kick on the arm unless you've moved out the way. You need to get that point back. A kick on the arm, it's not as big a score in kickboxing as it is in Thai, but it's still a score. So you've got to get that point back. There's Romanov trying to use his own left leg. Romanov has a really good left leg himself. Maybe not quite as dexterous as Yoza, but it's really effective. There's a calf kick from super close. And again, Yoza doesn't accept these knees. There's a lot of guys in one championship who beaten Thais by being volumey and movement on the back foot, then just clinching up and kneeing when they get close enough to throw the hand combinations. And it can be a bit disgruntling for a lot of the Japanese fighters. But Yuki Yoza will still just blast low kicks from really close. If you watch this fight with Taiyo Asahisa in K1, he uses those low kicks from really close. And this is classic Yoza. He misses this kick, but he doesn't accept it. He still scores. Boom, a high kick with a really tight knee angle to land. Then a Chizoku kick to the body, and then an inside low kick just to keep Romanov off balance and keep the scores up. This is something Yoza does a lot. He'll throw like a left high kick or other shot. There he goes, Chizoku kick, and then he's going to question mark shades of Fate Toza to bring the left leg up to the head. But this is something Yoza does a lot. They'll have a combination, they'll have an exchange, and then he'll finish it on the inside low kick. A lot of people start a combination with an inside low kick to step in and throw punches after, or just use the inside low kick as a means to score. He'll use it as a means to stop people firing back. He'll use that a lot. He used it against Asahisa where he threw a left knee to the head, landed, and then go left body kick. He left some kicks unanswered there, maybe just taking his little breath. And there again, inside low kick off balances Romanov, especially because he's kicking at that knee level or kicking at that calf. It's really effective. And again, because he's kicking different points on the leg, you're never really sure if you should brace for it or let it ride. Generally, a calf kick is going to do a little bit less damage if you let it ride, and a kick to the quad is going to do a little bit less damage if you brace for it and make that T-34 tank armor. But if you're kicking at different levels, it can be tricky. There's Romanov trying to lean back again, and he gets hit with the right body kick because Yoza sells it so well. You can kick in off either leg, so it doesn't matter if Romanov goes southpaw that second. He can kick him at all different angles, all different points. There's a really good combination by Romanov. Inside check on the low kick, then he's going to just scoop with the right hand to go double body hook, and before Yoza can counter, he's going to go left knee. But the conditioning of Yoza, he just blocks that left knee. A lot of people use that same block against the left hook body, but he used it against the left knee, which takes some condition. We saw Petr Yan against Jose Aldo block the left hook to the body by just crunching in with that right elbow and then firing the right hook back. There, Yoza crunched back with the right elbow and then fired back with a calf kick. And there's that Chizoku kick again, really reddened up the side of Romanov. And again, this is Danny Bill style. I was watching a lot of Danny Bill versus Sanctinoy fights recently, and Danny Bill was kind of kicking at the calf level for sweeps. The plus side of that is even if you didn't really time that, you just happened to kick whilst he's kicking, you are more than likely going to knock him off balance, knock him off his feet, make him tired, and it's just going to look very strong. It's going to be very discouraging to the guy getting knocked down. And it is still a big score in kickboxing. Even if the judges intend not to score it as highly as a left hook, they are going to. It's going to have a big effect. There's a double spin, kind of Brian Fury style from Mr. Romanov. And he's using his lead hand as he switches to southpaw to set up that left kick. But again, even if it's a small kick back from Yoza to the calf, he gives nothing for free, which is really important for the judges. He's always firing back with something. You've got to bear that in mind. Some of these Japanese fighters who have moved over to one championship haven't had that same effect. And there's same. I don't know whether he timed that, because he will have seen that plenty of times in Kyokushin, people using the two-touch kick, or if he just happened to throw the low kick at the same time. Romanov actually with a good Chizoku kick there, but there seems to be a difference in the kicking. Romanov was more trying to kick to land, kick to score, whereas Yoza was always really trying to blast through. It kind of reminded me when John Wayne Parr was talking about fighting Kozo Takeda. John Wayne Parr was like, "Why were you kicking my check?" And Kozo Takeda said, "Because I wanted to break your shin." Kind of similar here. There, Yoza using the feints off the lead side, the lead leg to step in and throw a quick left hook. He's happy to use his high guard. You see, when he uses his high guard, he kind of squats and almost brings his head in close. Here, we're seeing, again, this classic kick counter, but he doesn't land the right kick, and this is something so important. He just keeps his stance from the southpaw and then throws the left kick. Even if he would miss his kick, he would make sure he's up on the score, which takes a real good gas tank to be able to throw kick, miss your kick, recover, and then throw that kick again. Very important from Yuki Yoza there. Covering up and walking in, but he doesn't cover up and walk up straight. He kind of gets a squat in his legs, keeps good posture, and then kind of almost gets his head under the chin of Romanov. Romanov there with a really nice question mark kick, nice exchange, and then a counter left hook by Yuki Yoza. Very little on the punching exchanges in this fight, kind of because Romanov was really good at using the knee and using the movement. So he'd use his knee in close to smother the hands of Yoza, and then use his movement on the back foot to stay away from the hands of Yoza. There, Yoza's timing a calf kick as Romanov steps heavy to throw his lead side. When people are throwing that left hand, they're generally stepping heavy on their lead leg so they can't pick it up to check. But he did use a good jab on the exit of that exchange. Yoza using that high guard again, pushing in, going for that left low kick. Again, he's never given anything for free there. He lands 2 kicks for Romanov's 1. He'll land a low kick and then come back up, Chizoku style, ball the toes, ball the foot into the body. Here, he goes, he's a 2-touch kick, kind of lands, it's a good score, but when he brings his leg back down, boom, he goes inside low kick. And that's not necessarily going to do a lot of damage, but it does score, and it just off-balances Romanov. You've got to respect that. It off-balances him, so he can't fire back, and there's another spinning kick. Romanov, he isn't a big power fighter. He's not like he was going to knock Yoza out unless he caught him super clean. So, he was throwing a lot of spinning kicks, spinning back fists. Those strikes you don't have to be a natural born puncher to do damage with those. There's a nice inside check. Here's some good work from Osmanov. Right hook, left body hook, and then a right knee up the middle. I'm not sure how clean that landed, but it was one of the better types of exchanges for Romanov. He had these good exchanges in this fight where he'd throw hands, finish up to the body, and then throw the knee. Even if it landed on Yoza's arms, it's still a good score, and it stops Yoza from firing back as clean. But Yoza, being a lot more assiduous than a lot of other Japanese fighters who have moved over to one championship, he would just throw his leg kick. Even if he'd miss, he'd just throw another leg kick. Boom. Hook cross from Romanov as Yoza throws the inside low kick, and then there's a left hand. Kind of shifted his feet so it didn't have the most power in the world. There's another spin. Yoza really got the time on it by round 3. Every time I think Romanov was spinning, by this point he was either getting low kicked, his base swept out from underneath him and he'd end up on his butt, or Yoza would just step back or step back and around. There's the inside low kick again, starting with it this time rather than finishing with it. Inside low kick, racking up the scores. Be interesting to see Yuki Yoza in 5-round fights against people with good cardio, guys like Superlek and guys like Haggerty. And there's that. It's kind of like a Thai sidekick to the face in that exchange. Boom, Romanov answers back with a 1-2 as Yoza's on one leg, but as Yoza retracts his leg to the ground, he throws a left hook. Really, really good exchanges from them there. Left knee feint into left hook, and there's a rolling thunder. Rolling thunder, good to do at the end of a fight. Lands less in kickboxing than it does Kyokushin, because Kyokushin, they're going body, and they're almost kind of leaning on each other. There's like a left body kick with no switch, takes the right hand and throws a left hook. A lot of refs could have given that as a knockdown. There was much lesser punches scored as knockdowns in other fights on this card. Really, really good fight. Really, really promising stuff from Yoza. I can't wait to see him fight someone like Superlek, someone like Haggerty. These are going to be exciting fights. Remember the Takeru versus Haggerty left kick beef that was happening on Instagram ages ago? Imagine that with Yoza and Haggerty. That's like who's got the best left kick in combat sports these days. If you like this stuff, subscribe it. Hopefully, it doesn't get any bad dollar signs, does this video. But if it does, and you want to support more like actual fight footage breakdowns, check out the Patreon. Dollar Slice Tips.